We would like to acknowledge the First Nations people as the original owners of the land on which this takes place today. We recognise the country north and south of the Brisbane River as the home of both the Turrbal and Jagera nations. We pay deep respects to the elders past, present and future.
Hi, and welcome to Assignment 2 for EDFD436. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our presenters for this assignment. First, we have Simone Coote, Anna Wilson, Nicola Bennett, and I'm Sean Pollock. The next few slides is going to briefly introduce the community and the context of the setting. So the community for our situational analysis is Deception Bay, and the context is Deception Bay State Primary School. Now, Deception Bay is located 39 kilometres north of the Brisbane CBD, and according to the 2016 census, Deception Bay had a total of 19,857 residents, and that represents about 4.7% of residents usually residing in the Moreton Bay region. So according to the socio-economic index for the area, Deception Bay scored at 894. Now this is relatively low, and it does indicate greater levels of social disadvantage experienced in the area. So I would just like to provide a brief summary regarding Deception Bay State School. Deception Bay currently has a total of 343 full-time enrolments. Now, 23% of the students are of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent, and 15% have a language background other than English. The school has been in operation for over 90 years, and they value the interconnections between home and school with the hopes of achieving the best possible outcome for their students.
Throughout this presentation, Sean will be discussing the impacts regarding socioeconomic status of the area. Simone will discuss the cultural diversity in the school community. I will be discussing the disadvantages of online learning in low socioeconomic areas, and Anna will be discussing bullying within schools.
According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, measuring the socio-economic status of any given area is complex and caution must be taken when reporting. That is, when analysing statistics, according to the Index of Relative Socio-Economic Disadvantage, areas ranked in the bottom 10 are likely to experience similar levels of disadvantage. So that means the socio-economic conditions of individuals will vary, and figures do not necessarily represent that of a whole. So when observing the statistics in the local areas of Greater Brisbane, Deception Bay is ranked at number 9. So when referring to the disadvantage, this includes people's access to resources and or materials in conjunction with the ability to participate in general society. Unfortunately, areas that are considered low in terms of socio-economic status often have children in the area attend the local school and experience some form of disadvantage within their education. Disadvantage in this area can include a lack of academic involvement and achievement for the children. So this disadvantage often is a result of a variety of factors observed in these sort of communities. Now this may include, but is not limited to, overall family health, family dynamics, parental involvement in education, and of course dwellings that lack the resources to support children in their education. So when examining Deception Bay State School in terms of the distribution of socio-educational advantage, 63% of the school distribution falls into the bottom quartile of the local area. In terms of the top quartile, only 2% are included, and the remainder is spread across the middle quartiles. So upon examination of the school's NAPLAN results for 2019, students in Year 3 and 5 who are enrolled at Deception Bay State are considered well below that of the majority of Australian students. And in terms of attendance, students who attended school 90% or more during the year only include about 58% of the school population. So to conclude, the statistics for Deception Bay State School report low levels of academic achievement and low attendance rates. Now, when examining communities based on the socio-economic indexes, it undoubtedly positions and marginalises a particular group of people. So as factual as it may be, this egocentric view tends to other the child in these contexts. However, if we consider Bronfenbrenner's sociocultural model of development, the child becomes positioned at the centre of this system and therefore becoming exposed to a variety of interactions between different systems. So by considering this framework, early interactions within the microsystem undoubtedly give influence to the child. Now, in light of the social climate, Deception Bay State schools state that they are situated in a disadvantaged community which is undoubtedly diverse. The school motto reads, "Strive to excel," and upon speaking with the deputy principal of the school, she stated that this motto relates to an ideology that the school holds, and that is, the school strives to never give up on their students. Often, students, if excluded from the school, have nowhere else to go. The school naturally views the child as strong and capable, reflecting a sociocultural perspective that rejects the unilateral ideology of children. And this naturally positions children as having voice and agency within this setting. It is clear the school advocates for a transformative approach, challenging the social order of the community and advocating for children in these contexts.
When examining the My School profile of Deception Bay State School, it has been found that 23% of students are Indigenous and 15% have a language background other than English. These statistics demonstrate that there are cultural differences within the community. A quote from Deception Bay State School website is, "Our school serves a diverse multicultural community, encouraging all to strive to excel in all aspects of school life, academic, sporting, and cultural pursuits." The school supports cultural diversity through incorporating the 8 Ways of Knowing framework into their teaching. By integrating this framework, teachers are able to embed Aboriginal perspectives into their teaching and students' learning by using Aboriginal learning techniques. The school also supports cultural diversity and inclusion by broadening the cultural opportunities they offer with the school choir, concert band, and other activities. This demonstrates that Deception Bay supports and promotes cultural inclusion and diversity within their school community. Deception Bay State Schools community is culturally diverse, and they incorporate ways to support different cultures within their school, allowing children and families within the school community to be positively affected by diversity. Cultural diversity within the school community allows children and families to gain an understanding of different cultures while also broadening their intercultural understanding, as there are many different beliefs, values, and perspectives within different cultures. When individuals have a cultural understanding, this allows others to understand and relate to each other and helps to build a sense of belonging amongst children and their families. Therefore, this affects children and families within the school community as they are able to build an intercultural understanding. A theory that influences images of children and early childhood education regarding the issue of cultural diversity within the school community is Vygotsky. Vygotsky's social constructivism theory conveys the importance of interaction with culture and the importance of gaining knowledge through this interaction to support a child's cognitive development. This theory also denotes the importance of valuing children's background, culture, and abilities to positively support their learning and development. Educators must be aware of policies and practices that enable them to be more carefully inclusive regarding their teaching practices. This is because having a culturally inclusive school and community allows children to develop a sense of voice, agency, and power. It needs to be ensured that educators are inclusive of all students and promote their learning and development by adapting strategies to engage children with diverse needs and backgrounds. Deception Bay State School ensures that their school is culturally inclusive, which caters to the cultural diversity within their community, allowing students and families to be positively impacted regarding their inclusivity and cultural identity.
2020 has proved a difficult year for everyone, yet education has been especially difficult for children, parents, and teachers. This virus has created a pandemic which introduced the threat of teachers striking and schools remaining open. This has had an effect on the way students are learning, parents are tutoring, and teachers are educating. Yet the largest threat to these parties is the judgment of schools remaining open, as parents were instructed to continue sending their children to school during a pandemic. The Queensland Government Department of Education has stated that home-based learning will be in place for a minimum of 5 weeks in Term 2, with only essential workers being able to send their children to school, meaning all other students are partaking in at least 5 weeks of online learning. There are a number of impacts which go along with home-based learning. Firstly, this means the learning is online, requiring an internet connection. Deception Bay State School is situated in a known low socioeconomic area, with many families either receiving low pay or benefits from the government. Online learning, while having access to an internet connection, is a struggle for some of these families as they do not have the money to afford this. A survey from the upper years teachers from Deception Bay State School mentioned the fact that the majority of their students have access to the internet. However, 2 of the teachers have noted that they only have between 4 and 8 students who can access their online learning, as the remainder do not have internet connection. Around the school, they are depicted as a disadvantaged community with a diverse range of students and families. This can be seen around the community and through the lack of internet access students have while at home. When Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory is linked to an out-of-school learning routine, it's done through the child's mesosystem as they are interacting with their families and school learning. Edical and Mahoney mention how families offer more support and encourage children when the learning goals are aligned with their home setting. By completing home-based learning, it allows children to continue with their educational learning, yet aligning more with the family's learning standards. The child's level of education depends on the encouragement given from parents. If the family isn't willing to assist in their child's online educational studies, that child is more likely to struggle later in life as they didn't learn the essential skills while home-based learning was in place. Clark mentions how the surrounding community can have a large impact on the way a child grows up and learns. All regions have different statistics regarding their socioeconomic status. However, Deception Bay is classified as a low socioeconomic area, which can have a negative effect on a childhood and their life chances. This impact from the surrounding communities can also influence a child's educational achievement. This is seen through the lack of school attendance, yet it is more evidently seen now through the lack of internet access and commitment to ensuring schoolwork is kept up to date.
According to the Kids Helpline, 1 in 4 Australian students are exposed to bullying throughout their schooling years, whilst a national study in 2009 revealed that 27% of students in grades 4 to 9 reported being bullied every few weeks. These statistics show that bullying peaks in the middle primary years and continues into high school. Bullying is defined as the repeated misuse of power in a relationship where an individual or group uses this power to cause physical, social, or psychological harm. It can be verbal, physical, and/or social behaviour that can happen anywhere. The local federal member for Peachtree, Luke Howarth, has urged for all schools in his area to take a stand for bullying. He acknowledges that online cyberbullying is becoming more of a concern in schools, as well at home, with 1 in 5 young school students experiencing cyberbullying each year. Luke Howarth is encouraging all students, teachers, and parents to get involved in the National Day of Action Against Bullying and Violence. This is a day that recognises and highlights each school's work to counter bullying and violence. It is important for local politicians to support movements like this, as it encourages a healthy well-being for future generations. Deception Bay State School is within the Peachtree electorate and has positive behaviour strategies in place for the whole school. One of these strategies is embedding social skilling and anti-bullying across all areas of learning and is explicitly taught through focused classroom lessons. Another strategy is to have randomised bullying surveys to assist the administration team in identifying those students who bully, as well as what improvements can be made to their anti-bullying programs. Deception Bay also has a zero tolerance for bullying in their school and have put together a procedures for preventing and responding to incidents of bullying and cyberbullying document that is accessible for all future and current families. By implementing these procedures and strategies, it demonstrates how they are creating a safe and supported environment for all students. Based on Bronfenbrenner's ecological model, a student's development is affected by the social relationships and the world around them. These environments are the microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, and macrosystem. The views of Luke Howarth have an indirect effect on a child's development based on this ecological theory through the macrosystem to the microsystem. This is where it leads from the societal view to the school view. The Australian curriculum has also recognised the importance of social skills and has embedded the personal and social capabilities into students' learning. Through these capabilities, students are developing effective life skills that include how they manage relationships with others, developing resilience, and having a sense of self-worth. In light of the situational analysis, we have considered the implications regarding future pedagogical practice and made several conclusions on how we, as future teachers, can portray positive images of children and their families in our profession. First, teachers who work in low socioeconomic settings must first and foremost understand the diversity and complex backgrounds their students may come from, and in turn make adjustments with practice. It is crucial schools work closely with families and caregivers to promote educational excellence for these students. It is also crucial for educators to ensure children and families are culturally supported within the school community, demonstrating that educators value cultural diversity. Educators must incorporate strategies ensuring that the diverse cultural needs of all students and families are incorporated and met. When looking at pedagogical practice for online learning in low socioeconomic areas, it is a struggle to ensure all students can access the required platform. Less fortunate students who don't have access to the internet could attend school once a week to hand in their work and take home the next week's content. This ensures that all students are still receiving educational learning. Supported by Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory, a student's life is influenced by various environments, whether directly or indirectly. This includes the decisions made by politicians. It is crucial that educators view children as capable and competent learners and are provided with an equitable opportunity to participate in learning. Thank you for listening to our presentation.